Barry Jenkins won accolades and an Oscar for the film Moonlight. Now the director has brought his distinctive style to an epic about slavery.
Don't promise me nothing.
Based on the novel by Colston Whitehead, the Underground Railroad tells the story of Cora, who's born a slave in the Deep South.
What good is a railroad if only special folk can take it?
The 10-part series, which draws on factual history, combining it with magical realism, follows her journey escaping on a literal railroad. She encounters brutal suffering, but also unexpected beauty along the way.
We realized very quickly that so much of what we were doing, so much of what we were making or speaking towards and creating the show was speaking directly to what was happening out in the streets. And so, I don't know, I kind of reaffirmed that, that we were on the right mission.
In what way do you think it's speaking directly? Because this is history, but are you saying it has direct relevance to politics today?
There's so many different things that we see enacted every day, unfortunately, in these videos of these heinous acts. So, yeah, I think there's so many mirrors, I would say, between this show and what's happening right now.
Did it make you rethink your own relationship with America?
No, it didn't make me rethink my own relationship with America. I think I've been pretty clear about what that relationship is. The history and the lives of Black folks in America has always been something of citizenry and freedom with conditions.
It must have felt like a terrific responsibility, not only taking on this book, but also to tell this particular chapter of Black American history, your own ancestors' story in some way.
The story of America and the story of Black folks in America hasn't been told by Black folks, at least not in the mainstream. And so there are very few opportunities to do so from the perspective of a Black person. And so, yeah, I felt an extreme responsibility to get the story right, you know, to be authentic as an artist and to speak to the truth of my ancestors' experience, but also to find a way to honor them and not add to the dehumanization of their experience.
There have been other epics around slavery, obviously most famously Roots, 12 Years a Slave. What did you want to do differently?
I think that when we think of the enslaved, you know, I would only see them one way. Or I would reduce them to a very condensed layer of experience. And I wanted to create this sort of 10-hour epic, as you called it, where we could go through this whole wave of experience where you begin the story with a woman who was enslaved, who doesn't have control of her body, and evolve the story to the point where A, she can reject love, and then she can decide when she's ready to receive love.
One of the things that you really notice about your series is how beautifully it's shot. Even when we're seeing extreme suffering, it's shown in a very beautiful way. Why was that so important?
We filmed the show entirely in the state of Georgia, which is where the condition of American slavery was rampant. And we filmed in a lot of places that were not very different than they were, you know, circa 1850, 1840. And so there is a man being tortured, and there's a massive tree behind him. Things have happened on that tree, and there's Spanish moss on the tree, and the sun is setting. It is gorgeous. It is naturally resplendent. I didn't feel like it was incumbent upon me to remove that beauty, because I have no doubt it did exist when these things were actually happening. It would have been more disingenuous to have tried to remove that beauty.
So we are obviously on the anniversary of the death of George Floyd. How do you think America has changed in the last year? You
know, it's interesting. If you had asked me that question 8 months ago, I probably would have been more likely to say, I think America has altered dramatically or drastically, because now the grievances of Black folks are also being viscerally felt by more white folks. You know, you would go out to protest and you would see there would be just as many, if not more, young white people in the streets. And the level, the tenor of their protest, it was different than it had been in the past. But now we're a year on, and there's all this polling and all these things, and it just seems like some of that energy has waned.
Have things changed for you personally as a Black man in America?
No, absolutely not. You know, there's no sign on my head that says Academy Award winner, no matter how much status you have or how much capital you've accrued within a capitalist system. Very quickly, you know, you're brought right back to this very singular experience of being Black in America. I think if I'm going to keep trying to make work that reflects the lives of Black folks, then I need to continue to be living the life of Black folks. And so not much has changed for me.